Good afternoon, Tan Sri Razali.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. I hope your journey here was pleasant, and I hope we didn't keep you waiting or anything, and I hope the event downstairs didn't just tire you out.
No, I'm very happy to be here. I'm very familiar with the arts faculty. It's the physical building, and it makes me remember lots of things.
Reminisce.
Yeah, I was among the first set of students who were sent to this university. Oh. Yes, we were the pioneers in 1959.
Yeah. So before we begin on with the questions, I'd like to first tell you what an honor it is for us to have you here, grace us with your presence, and giving us this opportunity to interview you up and close and personal. So shall we begin with the questions? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll start with the easy questions. How are you?
Yes, I'm fine. I'm completely in my elements. As I said, I like to come back to my old place, campus here, in the arts faculty, particularly where I studied for 3 years.
Yeah, you studied English literature, right?
Yeah, 59.
Okay. So what have you been up to since your recent retirement?
Swakam was one of the things that I was involved in. When I resigned from it last April, it's not as if that I had nothing else to do. So my continuing preoccupation is to do with making an industry, making Malaysia accept the importance of sustainability and green energy in Malaysia. I think my company, Saipak, which is listed on the stock market here, has been able to spearhead the introduction of and application of green energy into Malaysia. We are very happy with the progress.
All right, okay. So from what you've told me and from the knowledge and why you are here, you too were a student here in University Malaya, as what you've mentioned before. Allow me to ask you this, if it doesn't sound too intrusive, but how were you as a student? Like, what was your experience here, and what did it feel like to be a part of this university?
Well, it was a small university then. I don't think there were more than, at the beginning, 600 of us.
Really?
It was less than 1,000, and the numbers got bigger. Now, I don't know what you are, 50,000 or something, what are you?
Around that amount, yeah. And still upcoming with a new freshers.
So it's, we had the first residential college, and we walked from there to the arts faculty.
Oh.
No buses, nothing, and even the idea of there were very few motorcycles then. Well, I had a scooter after I started working on the site, one in university. Then I moved around, but and there was a big lake. The lake's still there.
Yeah, the lake's
I used to fish in these lakes. Yeah.
Okay.
So everybody knew each other because we were small in numbers.
So there was only one residential college up and running. So you were from the first one then? Okay, all right then. On to the next question. Were you an active member in your college? Were there a lot of college activities?
Well, I was the first chairman of the residential college, first college. And we were very active. We played a lot of sports, and I went out with a lot of girls. So that was being active too. But the library was also a big attraction. For you come from a school, even though I came from a very good school which had a very good library, the Malay College. The library at that time really blew my mind. There's all these books, and certain books had red dots which you cannot take out of the library, what have you. And it was something. I took to liking the library quite a bit, although I still had time for girls.
Okay, so in conjunction with being active in both personal and studies and all, were you active in any other clubs or activities or events in University Malaya?
I was vice president of the Students' Union here.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
And I was vice president of the National Union of Malayan Students also at the same time.
Oh, very active indeed.
Play rugby.
Even in sports. And also, all right, okay. So I'm guessing that you've partaken in understanding that you've partaken in a lot of activities.
Eventually, it was 3 years seemed a very quick time. You see, in those days you could get your honors within 3 years.
Oh,
And that's what some of us did. Now I think you have to do 4 years.
yeah.
Yeah, suddenly you go from sixth form in the school to come to university, and then you're out of university, you got to work, you're a man, and some of us got married and all the rest of it. So I think it was too quick a transition.
Too quick a
I should
transition.
have spent more time studying in depth all the issues, subjects.
Okay. Did you feel like you gave too much time to leisure activities instead of studying, or did you just feel like you could have done more studying?
I think if you look at the universities overseas, people spend time in the universities for years and years, and the first degree is nothing. In my time, to have the first degree, all the folks come out for convocation day, my mother is in tears, and all that sort of thing. But first degree is nothing. I mean, I should have taken a PhD. So there is this sense of not having done enough in the university.
Well, your contribution to success is quite well known here in UM.
The absence of adequate scholarship.
All right. So since you're very active, you mentioned you are active in the student union and everything. Surely you've formed quite a close bond with any lecturers or any seniors that you've had to work with. Do you remember any favorite lecturers or any favorite seniors that
just
you
now
had?
I was talking about Professor Wong Gang Wu,
Oh,
who's now in Singapore or Hong Kong. He was a great teacher in history. He's world renowned.
okay.
Yeah. We had several other people that impressed us, and there were some of the people that didn't thrill us very much because they didn't think that we would be able to do well. So it was like that. But we were allowed to interact with the teachers, with the lecturers. After the first 1 or 2 months, a lot of us, quite a number of us, were drinking beer with the lecturers.
That close of a friendship.
Yeah, and eventually some of them became my friends.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
And it didn't mean that we were favorites and all that, but we had something to talk about, and they would talk with us, and it was fine. I think the interrelationship that you have now is not the same. You don't have it. This is the pity about Malaysian institutions.
Yeah.
There's too much of a divide between the students and the teachers.
In terms of seniority and superiority.
Yeah,
that's
there's too much protocol, too much. I must emphasize the fact that you cannot disagree with me too much, or they don't like it. And, so I don't know why we have built all these walls that partition us from each other.
It's the current generation that I've been born.
You shouldn't accept it.
We shouldn't.
You should tell your minister, you should tell your lecturers, this is not the way it is. If you see to other universities overseas, you see the interaction. It's very, very wholesome.
So are you pleased with the current situation of the university and students? It sounds like you have
I
quite an
asked the
opinion.
professor what is the reason for celebrating the 60th year anniversary of the university. Is there a lot of reasons to do this? I'm sure there are. If you think of numbers, how many thousands of students have come out of this university, yes. But qualitatively, what have you produced? How do we compare ourselves to the National University of Singapore, which was our counterpart at that time? They're miles ahead of us now.
So does our contributions and our success surprise you, or are you still sort of...
No. I don't think we have done that well, quite frankly.
All right.
But I accept that being government control all these years, you're coming out of it now. The results is rather mixed. We've got a lot of students that passed out, but we're not dealing with students who have come out with intellectual curiosity to do things, to ask further on and go into depth in the areas that they studied.
We should take your words into account.
But
We
anyway,
are still
the
improving.
celebration should also be a time for stock taking for the lecturers, for the administrators, and for the political leadership, the minister and all that, to see maybe there is a need to make some changes.
Okay, well, unfortunately, we come to the last question for our interview this afternoon. Do you have any specific memorable moments here in UM that you'd like to
Many
share?
moments of great memory.
Any special places you would like to reminisce with us about?
The times with my friends, the crazy days of getting drunk in the air and coming back here, and being warned by the warden of the college that they will get us sacked if we continue like this. And then, not to forget, understanding better the subject that I was doing and liking it, and knowing that these lectures they were teaching us were good quality people who really wanted to put across the essence of university learning, and it was good. Yeah. I continue to think of my university very fondly and very constructively, but I wonder about all the other students that came after me, the thousands and thousands of nameless people. What have they done?
So, in light of you sharing your opinions, do you have any words of wisdom or hopes or visions you would like to impart upon the current and future students of UM?
Well, if the university is courageous enough to recognize what it has done, what it has not done, then you can take stock of that. And there are some of us who would support this university to go further and further, be more daring, more courageous. A university must be a separate, not necessarily independent, but recognized as a separate entity to question and to provide answers. Not just to ask questions, but also to provide answers. We are no longer an ivory tower. The kind of money it costs to run universities, we cannot afford to be an ivory tower. We must answer the needs of society. And this university must say how well he has answered the 60 years the needs of society. Thank you.
Yeah, but no, wait, hold on. We have one last request from you that is in conjunction with our 60th anniversary annual homecoming that will happen this November, FSS Faculty's 60th anniversary. We would like if you could share some words or a congratulatory speech that we can incorporate into our video for the homecoming later on. Your words are very much appreciated.
To the students?
Yeah, to the students.
It's good to be in this university still. The thing I would say is make your voice heard. Now there's so many of you, 50,000. Unless you really can be outstanding in whatever you do, whether music or whatever, then you will not be heard and seen. So you have to get yourself out and be singled out as somebody who has done something outstanding.
So we have to shine.
Yeah, and love the country. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tan Sri.